about politics and governance through generations. This is also a moment of great opportunity when we can choose to answer the unsettled questions of our nationhood, and in doing so, free our people to thrive here at home in a manner unlike ever before. Over a century ago, Nigeria was created from the first union of tribes and people without consideration for the complex cultures and histories of the communities and kingdoms that make up this union. Our country was created at the whim of external forces to serve their interests and achieve their own purposes. We did not choose this union. It was imposed on our fathers before us. And we, in turn, have inherited it in all its flawed glory. This is our truth, but it is not the only truth. It is also true that having inherited this union, we have built it up, held it together. We accomplished this through joint effort over many years. We did it through citizens moving from one end of the country to another, acquiring education, building businesses, making friends, falling in love, marrying. We did it through the joy of shared victories and the mourning of communal loss. We took ownership of our country by sacrificing blood, sweat, and tears to secure democratic governance and make Nigeria into a place where ambitions can be made real by determined effort and where hope can thrive. As in the words of our old national anthem, we made this nation a nation where though tribe and tongue may differ, in brotherhood we stand. Now, fast forward. Now, Nigeria belongs to all of us. And if you may excuse me, Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, when you talk about a topic like diversity, unity, particularly a time like this, it's a hot topic. So you get really hot. So you excuse me while I take off my jacket and I'll come back to you. Okay, let's get cooler here. It is also true that having inherited this union, we have built it up and held it together. We accomplished this through joint effort over many years. We did it through citizens moving from one end of the country to another, acquiring education, building businesses, making friends, falling in love, and marrying, like I said earlier. But things have changed. All of us, and in equal measure too. Yet our future remains uncertain, and the highest hopes we each have for one another are hampered by our inability to define a shared vision of nationhood for ourselves. We have not agreed on what Nigeria is. We have not determined the purpose of our union. It is unclear to most Nigerians why Nigeria exists or what purpose it serves in their lives to be a part of this national union. Our nationhood exists in the abstract, with neither an emotional, practical, or spiritual conception around which we can unite our nation's peoples. Yet I, for one, believe that the creation of this union divinely ordained. Therefore, it is our sacred citizens of this great country to identify the purpose of this divine creation and give ourselves to those activities that will make real the divine purpose of our national union. Unity is the means to an end. People unite when it is clear that unity is essential to achieving a common goal and acquiring benefits that serve the national interest. Therefore, the condition for unity is a collective understanding of the goals and benefits that result from the union. How does Nigerian unity serve the interest of the Nigerian in Akwa, Oka, or Kafanchan, in Oshogbo, or Damboa, who wishes more than anything to practice his trade and worship his God without fear of molestation by state and non-state actors alike? In the answer to that question lies the key to achieving unity in our diversity. More than at any time in our history, our fate is of our own choosing. We have it in our power to write a new chapter of peace and prosperity, justice and equity for our country. But we cannot write that chapter, and we will not be able to overcome the perils of the moment, to take advantage of the opportunities that abound, until we have settled in the mind of every Nigerian the definition and meaning of Nigeria. Until it is clear to all our people that apart from that name, that expression, that geographical expression, there is a meaning to the idea of Nigeria. You see, Nigeria, like every other country, is an idea. The question is that what is that idea? What is the meaning? What does it mean to be a Nigerian? Now, until it is clear to our people, from east to west, north to south, that the continued existence of Nigeria guarantees them certain inalienable rights, we cannot rightly seek and fully expect unreserved commitment to the Nigerian project. Many a times in countries where people are proud to be who or what they are in terms of their nationhood, you hear many a citizen say, I will die for America. I will die for my country. I will die for whatever the country is. And that used to be the case here. But unfortunately, there seems to be a trend that phrase, common phrase of national pride, that I will die for my country, has suddenly, unwittingly been reversed to I cannot die for my country. That portends grave danger. The Constitution of our Republic provides that the security and welfare of the people shall be the primary purpose of government. We are united in our nationhood by the promise that in this union, we will have a government that protects us from harm and is concerned primarily about all else. The considerations of our collective welfare. The combined obligation of government to secure the citizenry and ensure their welfare is the central covenant of our nationhood. Unfortunately, as we all know, the Nigerian state has often failed to live up to its covenant obligations. The Nigerian state has often failed to live up to its covenant obligations. And I'm talking about the Nigerian state spanning decades before now. As the social compact of our nationhood has shrunk, the bonds of our brotherhood have frayed alongside, and citizens have been left to perform the functions of the state for themselves and their families. When your security and welfare are your business and yours alone, it is tough to exist in brotherhood with the persons against whom you are competing for survival. It is even more difficult to expect the people caught up in this dynamic to freely pledge allegiance to the country. At the same time, the government has operated in opposition to the people for much of our history. Interactions between government and the citizenry frequently harm the citizens, causing further loss of faith in the ability of the Nigerian state to protect its own. This is the overarching legacy of military rule in Nigeria. We have not recovered from it. Over the last 20 years of democratic governance, we have made tremendous progress. However, many government institutions, notably law enforcement, retain the character of a militaristic past, and their actions often fall short of the legitimate expectations of the Nigerian people. Therefore, unity is incumbent on our ability to do three things and do them well. The first is to ensure that the government respects, protects, and guarantees the fundamental rights of all citizens without exception. The second is to provide a society where our people are free from want and have the resources to pursue their dreams and achieve their basic aspirations. And when I say free from want, I'm talking about the basic necessities of life. I'm talking about water, food, electricity. That is, I'm not talking about wants. I'm not talking about needs. I'm talking about wants. Those basic things that make life more abundant. The third is by freeing our people from the abject terror and accompanying limitations of wanton insecurity in all its forms. This is the pathway to a truly united Nigeria, a nation where our diversity is a source of strength, and we are not defined by the differences of tribe, tongue, religion, and history. All of the above depends a lot on the quality of political leadership at all levels of government. It also depends on whether we are ready to have the difficult conversations about the realities of our country without recourse to easy tropes and comforting shibboleths. In the House of Representatives, we are currently in the process of a substantive review of our nation's constitution. Our objective is to deliver a constitution that more effectively organizes our politics to make it more inclusive, enshrine efficient mechanisms for holding institutions of state to account, and put an end to the debilitating conflicts that continue to tear our nation apart. We will not produce a perfect constitution. Let me say that very quickly. We will not produce a perfect constitution. No such thing has ever existed in the world. Indeed, some countries don't even have a constitution or a written constitution. However, together we can, by the choices we make and our actions, use our constitution as a foundational document of our nationhood to give life to the best promise of Nigeria. We will do what is necessary to achieve these objectives. However, all that effort will amount to naught unless we have a buy-in and the support of credible voices from outside of government. For understandable reasons, many of our citizens have come to expect too little of our politics and government. We collectively suffer from the tyranny of low expectations and the cynicism that causes us to believe that the political process cannot produce anything worthy or worthwhile. But this political process, flawed and broken as it is all we have. So even as we work to reform it, we must also sustain and use it to build the country we desire and deserve. In our public and private lives, we must also make a conscious effort to reject the formulation of thoughts and actions that elevate every point of difference and disagreement into a seismic breaking of alliances. We can continue to assume and act in the assumption that every criticism, every political action, or every governing decision, for good or bad, is the product of ethnic, religious, or other such considerations. No, we cannot continue to make such assumptions. We need to begin once more to extend to ourselves the benefit of kindness and the assumption of good intentions. We are capable of this. The history of our lives, including our very gathering here today, is a testament to our unending capacity for brotherhood, for partnerships and relationships that elevate us in the hallways and classrooms of King's College for many generations. Strangers from across the country, speaking different languages, observing different perspectives, and carrying the burdens of varied and complex histories, have met and become lifelong friends and business partners and allies in the course of life, right in this school here. This is what is possible in Nigeria, but it requires work, a lot of work from all of us. And in doing that work, we will do well to observe the histories of the Kingsmen who have passed through this institution over the years. They came in as boys, became men, and on the strength of the relationship built here, went on to change their little corners of the world in ways both big and small, but always consequential. My father was one of such men. He was a Kingsman. And I too sought and was admitted into the college. However, there was at the time a government effort to achieve greater national integration by sending secondary school students across the country, much in the same way as is done, or the idea behind the National Youth Service Corps. Eventually, at a point I was sent to the eastern part of the country, but eventually I ended at Igbobi College. For many would say that the loss of King's College was the gain of Igbobi College. You could tell that when I said that, I turned around to look at the president. I enjoyed every minute of that. So I too consider myself a King's man, whether you like it or not. So when I see any of you, and hail you, Floret, don't be surprised and don't deny me. Floret, there you go. I congratulate the King's College Old Boys Association on the occasion of this 112 Founders Lecture. And thank you all most sincerely for the invitation to be a part of this event. I salute each of you for your contributions to our beloved country and your commitment to attaining a more perfect union. Your request for the federal government to hand over the running of KC to the Board of Trustees will be looked into, subject to if it will help us to be stronger together. May God bless you and keep you all, and may God continue to bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you very much.
With the permission of the Right Honorable Speaker, please be seated. Now, that's what you just heard is what I call true oratory. That was a magnificent speech. And no wonder the Right Honorable Gbajabiamila is the Speaker of the National Assembly. He said, and I quote, "This process, this political process, flawed and broken as it is all we have." Thank you very much for those great words, sir. Before the interlude, the video interlude, we are going to have a solo by another member of the centenary set, the 2009 set. It's in French, so please listen carefully as Omaliko Ebuka gives us a solo. Mr. Omaliko, please come forward. A round of applause for the soloist. Thank you very much, Maliko. That was very entertaining. Right Honorable Speaker, sir, I hope we will be able to get a copy of your speech for our records and for fidelity of any journalistic endeavors. Thank you very much, sir. We will now have the video presentation. Okay, Chairman Kingswick is busy. And we have the projection of the videos.
Our history lies the stories portraying the birth of a diverse, written in the pages of history. Written in the pages of history lies the stories portraying the birth of a diverse and rich culture.
All coming together to form one body.
This country, Nigeria, our nation, our land, our home.
The giants of Africa, rooted deep in the core of diversity.
A fine blend of unique and distinct tribes.
So different yet so alike in exceeding brilliance.
You will find us in the north, the south, the east, and the west. Indeed, you will find a Kingsman in every nook and cranny of our great country.
We are Nigeria's pride,
And we are better united than divided.
For herein lies our strength. Yes, we are better together.
Brothers and sisters, all in one body.
With every part coming together in a harmonious rhythm.
we complete one another.
Yes, there is beauty in our union. There is beauty in our ability to coexist.
With the knowledge that there is none superior to the other.
For each tribe is equal and vital part of the nation, an unending lineage of men and women from different backgrounds and religions, with different ways of life, from what we eat to what we wear to how we dance.
So how we speak our mother tongues in this, our fatherland.
But our differences should not be an avenue for conflict. Division is not an option.
For a house divided against itself cannot stand.
So it is time to embrace our differences.
It is time to break down all the walls of hatred and contempt.
It is time to acknowledge and celebrate the uniqueness of each culture. It is time to reignite the fire of tolerance in our souls, as we once again share laughter, love, and kindness.
We cannot afford to grow apart, for there can be unity in diversity.
And so we have to walk hand in hand, firmly holding on to this love that both liberates and binds us together.
We might bend, but nothing should break us.
Even as we choose to rise above the pressure to go our separate ways.
We cannot change our past, but we can do something today that will change our tomorrow.
Together, we can build this nation.
Together, we can make this country a better place.
Not forgetting to leave our footprints in the sands of time. To serve as a model for future generations.
As we choose to live in peace and unity.
Because this is our nation, our land, our home, Nigeria.
I believe in one Nigeria.
One Nigeria.
I believe in one Nigeria.
Member of the panel will give a 10-minute talk, perhaps. Madam will take care of that. But our panel is star-studded, and everybody on the panel, both virtual and physical, is legendary in one way or the other. I remember Mr. Peter Obi once having a discussion with us, and somebody whispered to me that whilst on summer holiday many, many years ago, they were staying together in one room with Mr. Peter Obi, only to find out later that he owned that building and the two buildings beside it. His business acumen is the stuff of which legends are made. You have already been told of Malam Nuhu Ribadu, who you would think would be a very old man by now, because when he was doing those wonders 20 years ago, it was as a 70-year-old man was performing. But it is good to see that he's still very much with us and still look very young. The first day I stepped into the premises of the EFCC to see a friend who had run into trouble, my heart was beating as if I was the person who had committed the crime. Such was the strength which was projected. Not everybody can walk away from $15 million. That's a lot of money, but he did so, and we are proud of him. Well, our moderator is also a legend in her own right, a Chevening Scholar. The Chevening Scholarship is a United Kingdom scholarship given to exemplary and extraordinary people for exposure in the United Kingdom. So she is a Chevening Scholar, because once a Chevening Scholar, always a scholar. She cut her teeth with the BBC, and this was global. She reported from all over the world. And she was also the moderator of Nigeria's presidential election debate in the year 2011. Those of you who have listened to her interviews know that she's a fearless interrogator. I'd hate to be at the other side of the microphone from Hajia Kaderia Ahmed. So I have the pleasure now of handing the microphone over to her to do what she does best. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that kind introduction. Just to set the ground rules. Yes. Okay. I've been told that unfortunately we're going to lose the speaker, so we're going to pause a little while he exits. I was actually hoping you'd be here because of you did set up this conversation so beautifully with your speech. Oh, you do? Okay. All right. Thank you. I thought you were about to leave. Thank you so much. Thank you. We appreciate that. Okay. So like I was saying, set up this conversation beautifully and attempted to answer some of the questions that I think we will be discussing in this panel. Why is Nigeria stronger together? If it is, and if it is not, why is it not? Is unity possible without equity and justice? Is the lack of unity a factor in Nigeria not working? Or do we lack unity because Nigeria is not working? These and a few other questions are what we're going to spend the next 90 minutes discussing with this distinguished panel. And if I may, every panelist is going to have between 5 to 7 minutes to just, give an overview of their position on this particular theme. And then we'll come back to a conversation with the panel and finally open it up to the floor so that we'll get the audience engaged. Without wasting any more time, I'd like to invite His Excellency, the former governor of Anambra State, Mr. Peter Obi, to make his opening remarks. Thank you, sir. You can sit. I think you should sit down. It's fine to sit down. Okay.
Mr. Speaker and our chairman, let me stand on all the on a distinct protocol. I think Mr. Speaker has done a lot of justice to this issue that I think they will just go on in the discussion part. But since I'm asked to do a 1 or 2 minute speech, one is to say that when we talk about where you have ethnic diversity or nations that have that go through this, and there's quite a number of them that we can use as an example and look, how are they staying united and developing and doing better than we're doing? Former studies, they just say Nigeria is about 250 ethnic groups. We're far below India with over 2,000. We're far below Indonesia with over 1,300 ethnic groups. And these are very big, massive populated countries. India is about 1.4 billion today, and Indonesia is about 265 million today. And in their own, like Indonesia, with over 17,000 islands. So they're even more, not just there's the different ethnic groups, but living in pockets and everything. And they've been able to do better than we're doing today with the Cindy. What did they do? Difficulties, like we're going through difficulties, where there was wars, visions, and everything, until they found that the one thing is you cannot stay united if there's injustice. Mention, you cannot stay united if you do not allow people a level playing ground where people's talent and hard work will match up the opportunity, which is the critical thing in Nigeria. It is the renting, it is that we live in that is dividing us. I listened to the chairman talk about what is happening in King's College. How too was a businessman, a trader in Lagos. And I was telling somebody this morning that I remember in the days when Babangida liberalized the economy, and we're talking about even formation of banks. We made sure that if we say we are starting this institution, we are looking for different tribes to invest because we're talking about productivity. I recall us sitting in one place and talking, how do we start this bank? And we say, oh, we have somebody from the north. We must get somebody from the north. We must get some. So we are looking for people from different ethnic groups to do the investment. So if it is a productive country, I can tell you our diversity would have been of strength. But when it is sharing, which is what is happening now, because our country is not productive, simple. Our country is consumption and sharing. And once it's sharing, it becomes difficult to be united because everybody wants to get more of the sharing process. So we need to reverse it and make it a productive country, which is what is happening in India, in Indonesia, in other countries that are, you can say, diverse as they are. We don't need to measure America, it's more advanced. That's why I'm citing countries that have similar trajectories. Philippines, smaller countries, Bangladesh, they have so many ethnic groups, but they are found to be productive and they are the right thing. And you could see, and that's why their economy, their country is getting better than we are doing. But I'm here to learn more from the comments of the people. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Excellency Mr. Peter Obi, for that take. I guess it's not surprising that for a businessman, the answer lies in the economy. Thank you very much for that. I'd like to now invite Ambassador Bagudu Hirse, who joins us, I think, virtually. Is he around? I thought we'd go to the one who is away. Talk to him first before coming back to Malam Ribado.
Yes.
Ambassador Hirse. Excellent. Okay, he's there. Thank you, sir. 5 to 7 minutes.
Thank you very much, Madam Moderator. It's my singular privilege and honor.
Does he know we can't hear him?
Well,
tech people, please can you check?
The problem must be at your end.
We can hear you now, sir, so please start again.
You can
Welcome.
hear me. I said it is my singular honor and privilege to be part of this program today. Distinguished Speaker, I recognize your presence. Your Excellency, the former governor of Anambra State, one of the vice presidents we never had. I can see my other good friends here, Kashim Imam, with whom we have been playing politics together for quite some time. Raymond Ihembe, I saw him here. I've not seen him for a long time. Let me stand on the existing protocol, please. My name is Ambassador Bagodi Hirse. I happen to come from Plateau State and from Mangu local government. And that is where the speaker, and as I just got to know recently, that his wife is from my local government. Bisala's daughter, late General Bisala's daughter. Now, let me go straight to the point. I recalled very well, with a sense of nostalgia. In those years, when we were about finishing our secondary school during the Second Republic, and let me commend our political leaders in the First Republic for doing all they did to make sure that Nigeria was united. Unfortunately, the coup came in 1966. Unfortunately. There was no reason for that coup. I said here again that in the year 1966, when I was about leaving secondary school, you recall those days we had the higher school certificate. You spent 2 years to prepare you to go to the university. I was picked to go for my HSC. In Okposi, there were 4 federal government colleges, unity colleges then, established by the then Minister of Education, Chief Aja Nwachukwu, who incidentally his son became my colleague as an ambassador in Botswana when I was in Namibia. There were 4 federal government colleges, and the essence of it was to unite the people of Nigeria. One was in his hometown, Okposi, which is now in Ebonyi State. One was in Warri, one was in Sokoto, and I think one was in Lagos. There were 4 federal government colleges then. I was picked to go to Okposi for my HSC. Unfortunately, the war broke out in 1967. And that's how I found myself in Government College, Kefi, where I became the senior prefect of the late President, Umaru Yar'Adua, and the present Minister of Information, Lai Mohammed. They were all in my house, Kaduna House in Government College, Kefi. Incidentally, Government College, Kefi was an offshoot of Barewa College. So when you are talking of government, when you are talking of King's College, of course, it's the premier college in Nigeria. We respect you for that. Then, of course, in the north, you had the Barewa College and Government College, Kefi. I did my HSC in Kefi. And after that, of course, let me say it here again with all sense of pride that I was in the first batch of the National Youth Service Corps in 1973. Although I lost a year, I would have graduated 72 from ABU. But as fate would have it, I reciprocated by marrying a Yoruba lady. Although the speaker married from my own local government, but I also married a Yoruba lady in return. And we have been married for 47 years as part of our unity effort for this country. Now, honestly, Nigeria has remained united in spite of all that we have gone through. But let me say it here without any fear of contradiction. Believe me, I don't know what is happening. I don't know what is happening. We have never felt so divided as a nation as we are going through now. When you hear of IPOP, when you hear of the Oduduwa people breaking away, when you hear of Middle Belt breaking away, you wonder what is wrong. Where have we got it wrong? Where have we got it wrong, for God's sake? to add more. You will agree with me. The current debate on VAT, the current debate on open grazing, further dividing the country. What is happening? It's very sad. I'm saying this so that the leaders, the political leaders of our country today should take note. But the basic thing is the economy in particular. Have we got it right in the economy? So please, I'll re-emphasize it, that something has to be done because we have never felt so divided as a nation since the end of the Civil War, as we are going through now. Alhaji Ribadu, let me commend you. You left indelible footprints in the sands of history in the fight against corruption in this country, which is one of our major problems. But before I leave, this government came on a 3-point agenda to fight corruption, put right the economy, and then security. I leave that to the congregation here to look at the scorecard.
Okay, he's actually frozen at the perfect time he stopped, I think. So thank you very much, Ambassador Hirse. He's asked a few questions. I believe they're rhetorical, and so I'd like to invite Malam Nuhu Ribadu for his opening address, and then we'll get into the conversation.
Thank you, Kadria, and thank you for a good job that you are doing. We are proud of you. A very honest journalist in Nigeria, and that's wonderful. Mr. Speaker, sir, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, not to waste time, let me just go straight to the point. Well, I'm very excited. I've seen the topic, unity in diversity, stronger together. I think we should all thank you for this, because it's a conversation that we need in our country today, especially with these young men who are coming up. Our forefathers have done their own. They have handed over the country to us. We are now managing it. Please, in the name of God, in the name of Allah, let's hand over one Nigeria that is working today. It is we who are responsible today. To make a nation out of federating states or federating regions, it's not going to be an easy thing. It's going to be work in progress. We just have to do our best. And I think part of it is also to talk about it the way we are talking now. We must encourage this type of conversation. Let's talk to each other. Let's share our own experiences. And I want to tell you my own little experience that I've had in my public service that made me think about this diversity that we are talking about. I was one of the first set of people that went into Rwanda after the genocide, part of the United Nations mission. I saw horrible things there. We went into a church where we saw over 200 bodies, murdered Christians killing Christians because there were no Muslims there. Within a short period of time, they killed themselves, probably close to a million out of just 8 million people. Before then, I was in Somalia, part of also the United Nations mission. Somalia is the only country in Africa that is one religion, one tribe, and they speak one language. But yet, up till now, we don't have a Somalia as a country. They are fighting. While we were handling the Rwanda matter, we ended up in Tanzania, in Arusha, in the process of setting up the genocide tribunal. And I reflected. I saw what was happening in Tanzania. Tanzania is a country of about 120 or more tribes and ethnic groups with almost equal Muslim and Christians that work so hard in a short period of time. They, dissolved their own fragmented country into one, Zanzibar and Tanganyika, and they became one country. Tanzania is probably one of the safest and peaceful countries we have in Africa. Tanzania, up to now, have never had what we call coup. Up till now, we have not had any genocide, like what the crazy and madness going on in Ethiopia today between the Tigray and Oromos. And I started wondering, what is going on? What is happening? There has to be something else more than just diversity. I'm talking about Africa, not even Europe or in Africa. Countries that are diverse as Nigeria are doing very well. Countries that are supposed to be one, that no difference, are the ones in trouble. Rwanda do have only two tribes, the Tutsis and the Hutus. They are all Catholics. 80% of Rwandans are Catholics. But yet they killed themselves. They destroyed their country. It's only, the emergence of Paul Kagame that made a difference today. So if you see it, there has to be something else that, we have to be talking about. My own is that I have seen probably what my brother Peter Obi said about being fair, just, manage things properly and correctly. Nigeria is a big country, big in population, big in wealth, and also big in size. This is supposed to be something that will make us great. If we mismanage it, it is going to be hell. And exactly that is probably what is going on today. It's about management. It's about being fair. It's about being just. It's about doing things properly and correctly. And I think that is where somehow the problem lies. Yes, there is nothing we can do. We are many, we are different. We have seen it, like what you said. King's College is an example, what you have said. All of you are coming from different parts of the country. And today you are brothers, you are one. The same thing, all over. From my own, where I did all my life as a public servant, Nigerian police, we never friend from this man is from this man. The best friend I have is somebody from Igbo, and probably the person that I trusted most was a Yoruba man. That when we walk out, the one human being that helped me in Nigeria is probably, Obasanjo, or probably Sunday Hindero, who was my boss. And it was okay, things work. Why is that ethnic thing? Why is that religious thing? Why is Somalia is on fire up till now? Why Rwanda killed themselves with two tribes? Why is Tanzania working? I think we need to reflect. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Madam Niribado. And before I sort of ask questions and get into the conversation, I think it's just important to point out that the Tutsi Hutu are actually one tribe, but were created by the Belgians. They created the two tribes. They were one people, and the Belgians decided the ones with long nose should be called Tutsi and the ones with flat nose. No, they speak the same language. It was the Belgians that created it. I just thought, for the purposes of, just correct that fact. So let me start. Oh, okay. The speaker is getting ready to leave. Before we get into the conversation, let's wish him goodbye. And thank you for joining us. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Okay, sir, please, are you sitting down? Yes, you are. Thank you, sir. He's staying. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you. With a bit of depth, but if I could start, In speaking, Malam Nuribado said, our fathers handed over a united country to us. For goodness sake, let us do the same to the generation coming. Why must we hand over a united Nigeria? If Nigeria is not working, that it isn't constituted. Why is unity sacrosanct? Why must people be forced to stay? If you consider that the right to self-determination is something that is enshrined in virtually every single instrument for self-determination across the globe, whether it is UN laws or whether it is the Article on Human Rights, etc., etc. It's for you, sir.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, he gave you. Okay, sorry.
Well, mine is I think it's a very simple one. It's simply in the sense that I always say, we have not tried or worked enough to show that we can live together. Our parents did it. It wasn't anything. They had even less, I can say, in terms of endowment and everything, exposure, education that we had today. We've not even tried to work on our living together. That was why I cited countries that have done the same thing. There's nothing in it.
But we've been in the nation for 61 years. Is that not trying?
No, I don't think so. Because I said we have lived in a country that basically is not productive. Once you're not productive, everything everybody have mentioned are countries where there's a sharing and consumption mentality. Once you make it productive, those who came to King's College and stayed together is because they took entrance. It wasn't just, they didn't take people because they know this person. Today, the problem why Unity School is not working is that the method of admission have changed. You now have to know somebody who knows somebody. Once you remove competence, meritocracy, you lead to problem. King's College was doing well then because Cashin passed, was taken, he passed and was taken. Today, he will fail, they will put him, he will fail, they will put him, then they will remove everybody who passed. That is the problem. So let's remove it and go back to where we used to be, and it will work. Simple.
Okay. I was actually hoping to carry on with the spirit, but I've been told the speaker really must go because he does have another engagement. So I think we should just wait a little and get him. Maybe we'll take a small break because I think they want to take pictures with him, and then we'll come back to our conversation. Our apologies to everybody, but he does have a prior engagement that he cannot miss. I am so sorry for the stop and start. I apologize on behalf of everybody.
It's my singular honor. Let me have this. On behalf of, may I invite the PKC here, please, to stand beside me. The chairman, School-Based Management Committee, Anib, please, on behalf of the Executive Committee and members of the King's College All Boys Association, it's my singular honor and privilege to confer on the Honorable Speaker of the Federal House of Representatives honorary membership of King's College, Lagos. May I say this, please? On merit. He has performed, he has conducted himself since this is 5th term, not even 4th term. Good. This is 5th term in the House of Representatives. He went as an ordinary member, became minority leader. He rose, he grew majority leader, and eventually became the Speaker of the Federal House of Representatives. Now, additionally, he has also conducted the affairs of the House in such a way and manner that if he were to represent himself for election tomorrow again as Speaker of the Federal House of Representatives, the only thing that will change is with which he would win, he would be re-elected as Speaker. Now, also additionally, if you watch television every day, you see so many members from the opposition parties decamping to the APC. It is to the credit of Honorable Femi Bajagbamila. May I, on behalf of, now I don't know which to present first, the PKC has brought the school tie, and I hope that the Honorable Speaker for the next session of the House of Representatives, he will wear this tie as a proud Kingsman. Yeah, can you present this to the Honorable Speaker? The chairman of the school-based management committee, Jani Ibrahim, who robbed him with the scarf of King's College, Lagos. Now, I have one final presentation. It says King's College Old Boy. And the person that will be placing this cap on the head of the Honorable Speaker of the House of Representatives is none other but person than our old boy who represents this constituency in the Federal House of Representatives. I'm Kayode Akiolu. We have, wait, still another presentation. May I call on the Deputy President of the King's College Old Boys Association, Dr. Leke Oshuni, to also make this presentation to the Honorable Speaker. The school captain, where is he? School captain, can you quickly come forward? The president of the our Students' Parliament, King's College Parliament, Students' Representative Council, please come forward. Now, the final presentation is from King's College students. This is done by them and is going to be presented by them. Now, show it up like this first. Let everybody see it. Now you can present it to School Captain Joint presentation. This is a beautiful portrait. The drawing is by King's College students, and holding it up, they are presenting it to the Right Honorable Speaker. May I, on behalf of all Kingsmen worldwide, thank you. Our proud old boy, Right Honorable Olufemi Bajagbamila.
Thank you. Well, let me just, Mr. President, so does this make me a Kingsman? Okay, very good. Laureate. Well, for the first time now, I will accept, without even being gracious to my host, but I'll accept that there are only 2 schools in Nigeria. In fact, only 1 school, King's College. Thank you very much. I really appreciate this. There's no greater honor than to be recognized by citadels of knowledge such as this that have outlived each and every one of even our fathers. It gives me great honor to be a part of this, in whichever way, form, a part of this great institution. And whatever I can do in my capacity in whatever capacity I find myself, I'll be more than happy to promote the growth and the development, both academically and physically, of this school and the students herein. I thank you very much for this great honor. Thank you.
Written in the pages of history lies the stories portraying the birth of...
Thank you, everybody. And thank you for your patience. Okay. And we're very happy to be joined by Pastor Ighodalo. Thank you for coming and sitting with us. Okay, so that conversation, that answer by Mr. Peter Obi essentially spoke to the limitations of the Nigerian state over the last 60 years or 61 years. The fact that we seem to have started on a trajectory of merit, and that was somehow derailed. And he doesn't believe it is too late, but that rather we should try doing it properly first before we give up on Nigeria. From the point of view of someone who's actually worked in public office, what do you think are the structural problems facing Nigeria today that make it difficult for us to build a country that works for all and which therefore would encourage unity?
Thank you, Kadria. I think to just go direct to the point, what I've observed and is making a difference all over the world is that when countries are doing well in terms of being fair, just, work on institutions, respect for each other and all, ability for you to protect your God-given wealth, the commonwealth, and then use it properly and correctly, it all comes down to those who are in charge. And I'm talking about leadership. Leaders who are conscious of the fact that, they need to lead and be fair and be just. They need to show by example. They need to understand what it takes for you to manage complex situations. You need to work extra to ensure that there is peace. And the saying is, the road to peace is through justice and fairness. Ability for you to build things that will work for all. A situation where everybody will find himself and identify with everything. A situation where somebody in Ogoja, or probably in Borno, or Kebbi will look at Nigerian police force and say, this is my own police, and they are there to protect me. They will look and see the Nigerian army and say, yes, this is an army that I will be comfortable with, and I will close my eyes and sleep. A civil service that will serve the interests of all and fairly. When it comes to sharing whatever that is national, it is equitable. When it comes to working to ensure that people are protected, it is going to be across. And I think we've not done terribly badly. I mean, let's understand also that, with all, take for example, what is happening in the United States. I was talking with Mr. Obi earlier. The country is about 300, 400 years old. They are still struggling to be a nation, to be one. The Republican Party is working on believing that it is a country for the whites only. And nobody is entitled to enjoy anything other than themselves. They are still struggling to build a nation out of the United States. So it's something that, as they said, that we are still a baby at 61. We have a duty and responsibility. It's not late. It's work in progress. We should not be blinded by some immediate difficult challenges that we are facing. We just need to get to work. We need to be fairer and be just and work on institutions that can work for all of us.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Is Ambassador Yusuf still online? Sir, are you still there?
Yes.
Because I'm not sure.
I'm online. Can you hear me?
I'm assuming. Yes, I can hear you, sir. So, Madam Ribado has done a really decent job of the things that inhibit our unity. There's nothing in what he has said that hasn't been said sort of in the last 3-4 decades. We hear these things again and again about justice, about equity. How do we get them under the current dispensation? And I'm trying to get us to have a really practical conversation. Because if we've spent 61 years as a nation and we're still struggling with equity, we're still struggling with justice, the way Nigeria is designed, that is making it difficult? Is it a problem of our politicians? He talked about leadership, for example. Where do we get those magical leaders that will be equitable, that will be fair, that will ensure everybody is treated equally? That's really a part of this conversation, is how do we resolve the issues that mean unity continue to elude us and we put diversity ahead of unity?
Can I answer that question?
Yes, please, sir. For you.
Now, let me take you back memory lane. Okay? I was a permanent member of the Federal Civil Service Commission in 1981 to 1991. I was sworn in by the then president, late President Shehu Shagari. And I recall in those days, appointments were made on merit as well as federal character. People will be invited for interview for appointments. People in public service will be invited for interview for promotions in the public service. And we did it so equitably. What I'm hearing these days, what we're hearing these days, it's unbelievable. That you invite people for interview. After the interview, the list is discarded. And then you have a list coming from somewhere of people who have not even attended the interview being appointed. This is just one example. How do you achieve unity by that? How do you achieve unity by that? So, Madam Moderator, honestly, I think the present leadership has to do something about that.
Are just really intent on rhetoric and not, getting into the meat of things. How do we, because you can't run away from the fact that the current crop of leadership, like it or not, was elected into office by Nigerians under a system that is set to produce another set of political leaders in 2023. How do we ensure that the next time we go to the polls, we produce the quality of leadership we need, which people keep alluding to? The reason why we have this issue because the leadership is not job, leadership is not. How do we produce this leadership without, for example, ensuring that there is proper democracy within political parties? Mr. Peter Obi.
It's a very simple thing. We just have to change this again, selection process and start election process. The process through which people come into office here is faulty. And the recruitment process is poor. And that's why we recruit the least or the worst enough. There's no doubt to say that. For me, I said it over and over again, I'm not talking about parties, no parties. We have a problem because we have a situation where you can forget that you might have, I'm happy that a member of House of Reps, I wish the speaker was still here. If you have over 75% of a situation being bad, you can generalize without committing fallacy of generalization. You can completely say today that Nigeria is a state of lunatics are in charge of their to remove it. Let's select people based on merit. Let people be elected properly. And that's it. It doesn't it's not a party thing. It is across party lines. It's across everywhere where things are not doing well. We need to start electing people based on merit, performance, and character.
Mr. Ribadu, under the current dispensation, do you have confidence that the current political system can throw up leadership that would take Nigeria, move it towards democracy?
Yes, I do believe it is possible. But I also want to put it the other way around. Those who are threatening violence are not helping matters. Those who are insisting that it has to be their way or it is going to be nobody's way will not help us. I have said earlier, I said, it's not possible for you to continue to have easy. You will have challenges, you will have difficulties, you will have problems. But if you think and you insist that you are going to take it by force, I'm telling you, we are not going to go anywhere. I have seen countries, and it's good for one to share his experience with when situations like this are facing us. I served in Liberia, in Sierra Leone, and I saw what happened. I really saw what happened. And it's almost similar to what we are talking about. People will say, okay, now, let the whole country burn down. Let everything. And you suffer 5, 6, 10 years, you still come back to square one where you started. There are many countries that have been retarded, destroyed, simply because our inability to reflect and understand that countries do have challenging times, difficult periods in the nation-making process. If you think every problem you are confronted with, you are going to drag a knife or take an AK-47, it is going to be, nobody is going to be a winner.
Okay, one last question for both of you and for Ambassador Hirse before I open it to the floor. The Right Honorable Speaker, when he was delivering his keynote, talked about the fact that for Nigerians, most Nigerians today, there's this notion of, I will not kill myself for this country. And part of that problem is because Nigeria as a nation, we don't have, nobody understands what it is to be a Nigerian, what the benefit of Nigeria is. So for those of us, for example, who criticize identity politics, identity, unfortunately, in Nigeria is the source of access to state resources. It is how we appoint our ministers. It is how you access education. Virtually everything around Nigeria now requires you state either your state of origin or your region or that sort of thing. And so it is kind of a paradox that we keep talking about Nigeria when being Nigerian does not confer any benefit on anybody, but you could actually get benefit from being an Igbo man representing your state at the Senate, or a Yoruba man, or a Fulani man, or a Hausa man. And so my question to you is really, how do we go around building a Nigerian identity behind which everybody can rally? For all three of you.
Well, Kadri, I thought I answered a bit in the sense that I said, we have...
I'm talking practical answers now,
yes,
not theoretical answers.
We still have what we call democratic institutions and structures. It may not be perfect. It probably will not satisfy us and give us instant solutions, but it is a journey. One idiot woke up the other day and then overthrew a government in Guinea. You just need to see the guy and you don't know how it can be a solution. We are going to go into election. And like what Mr. Peter Obi said, let good people come out. Come out and be part of it, part of the fight. Insist that you will be you are going to be a participant in the process. Whether you are going to succeed or not, this our present President Muhammadu Buhari, he contested for 3 times. It's the 4th time he got it. There are good people around. People are shying away. There is no alternative for us. If we are going to go through the violence, we are not going to go anywhere. We have today political parties. We have a judiciary, even though it may not be 100% perfect, but probably is doing good enough to ensure that things are going fairly well. We have an INEC that is in existence. We are definitely going to have election in 2023. Those who believe that they have right, and these are the way things should go and should be in Nigeria, let them come out and insist and fight. Let everybody, some of you people who are sitting down here, who think that it is not a game for you to play, that it is dirty. Politics is not for good people. What alternative do we have? Are you going to wait till one idiot colonel who will come out and take over Nigeria again? No. Some of us, it's not that we enjoy this politics, but there is no alternative to it. No alternative. Please, ladies and gentlemen, let's go in. Let's continue to be there. Let's try. One day, things will be good in this, our country.
Mr. Ogun.
Thank you, Barry. I think you've answered it. My sister, there's no buffer anywhere in this business. Countries, I had 2 young men today tell me they are relocating. I had 2 young men today tell me they are relocating from Nigeria, and they have come to see me this morning. I said, where are you going to? They told me where they are going. I said, are you aware that that country you're going to, some young people like you sacrifice to make it what it is? But you want to go there and live here. The problem in Nigeria is that, yes, we have bad leadership. All those nations you've seen have gone through bad leadership. But the people, we have very, how do I say it? The complacency is too much. Followers who have determined not to even sacrifice anything to get a better Nigeria. How many registered voters do we have? How many youths do we have? We have 40-something million unemployed people. Have we elected any president here with 40-something million? Of something million?
But does it not make sense that if 33, almost 1/3 of your population is worried about what to eat, the chances are they are
no, they can change the place. I've seen people stay hungry and change their place. You've seen people, even when they give their gift, they say they don't want gift. They want good governance. They want their job. They can do it. But what we see here in Nigeria, this is not a political error, so I must contain myself. The people need to sacrifice. I don't want to go into politics with my brother. He's senior to this business. So I won't go into politics with him today.
Okay.
If it is, I would have said, let us stop celebrating all these characterless people who are jumping around all over the place. Let's look for people like Ribadu with character. It is time to show these characterless people out of the door. They are a problem. They should not be celebrated for any reason.
Okay. We'll open up the floor shortly, but I have a few online questions. Unfortunately, the first one was addressed to the speaker who was left, so I can't read that. But there's someone says, what's the view of those who are seeking a different idea for the dissolution of Nigeria? Or is the government not seeking their voices be heard through a referendum? I'll ask a few, and then we'll come back to the panel. Then Mr. Victor Eka says the issues of security, justice, and economic progress are so paramount now that one easily sees violent conflict on the horizon if they are not resolved. We know, all of us, that conflict and wars eventually end with negotiation and settlement. Can we therefore, in order to avoid conflict and war, give priority to discussion and negotiation to avoid the imminent collapse of the nation? This will be done immediately before any new elections so that the country will start on a new foundation of fairness, justice, and equity. And finally, Shola Labinjo, Nigeria is an orphan. Even our leaders pay lip service to commitments to the country. A former president once said in this country that he would be killed if he did the right thing and followed due process. He therefore preferred to throw the country into turmoil to save his skin. Yet this is a man who took an oath of office to defend the country with his life. Sadly, the same person is still celebrated in the country. Where is the inspiration? Where is the inspiration? Ambassador Hirse, maybe? Because he hasn't spoken for a while.
Well, can you hear me?
He's not there.
Well, he's. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Okay.
Can you hear me?
No,
Can
he's
you hear
back
me?
again. Now we can. Yes, sir.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, as a nation, what is in the front banner now is 2023. Of course, the elections in 2023. It's a pity that the speaker has left. How will the elections in 2023 be conducted? We are talking about electronic voting. Of course, if we are going to do electronic voting, the results must be transmitted electronically. That electoral act has to be properly put in place. It is very, very important. The issue of NCC coming into, there's no relevance at all. Let's be honest with ourselves. INEC must be given its total independence to conduct this election in 2023. Anything short of that, we're in for another trouble. Please, take note of that. Ghana,
There's a 33% unemployment rate, and terrorists are running rampage in Borno and the Northeast, and daily people are being kidnapped for money. And yet, for Nigerian politicians, it seems already the race for 2023, as if there is no life between now and 2023. Or am I being too hard on you guys? Yes. And then we'll take questions.
Well, I'm sure you must have read my position on 2023. And I said categorically, at least I can say that I'm one of those people who say, why are you not contesting? And what I always tell them that this car has an engine problem. So changing the driver will not make any difference. Let's fix the engine. The engine is what we are talking about, justice, fairness, and everything. And whenever people talk about insecurity in Nigeria, yes, we have an insecurity problem. But my sister, let me tell you, there's no way you have a country with almost 50% unemployment and you will not have situation we have find ourselves. There were nearly 50 million Nigerians don't know where the next meal will come from. What you use to reduce insecurity everywhere in the world is employment. Give food first. Then you can then know who are criminals and who are not. If you lock everybody here up without any source of food for this, you'll be surprised that 70 of us will be criminals. Simple. Let's put food on their table so we can deal with the issue. Parents are looking at their young ones who have been to school. We have over 20 million Nigerian young people in their productive age doing nothing. They are still living off their parents and everything. Their parents have struggled to do everything. Today, Nigerians who are even employed are spending over 100% of their wages to eat, not to even buy any other, just to eat. You have a crisis situation. Let's deal with it. It's not a rocket science.
So we agree that we shouldn't focus on politics.
No.
Okay.
We have a problem here that will make it impossible for us to even get to 2023. And as we get to that 2023, let's look for competent people that can change this scenario and focus on serving and governing the country.
Okay.
I have served the state. So I know that if we have good leadership, we can change the situation.
Thank you. Let's take a few questions before I come to you, so that you take a few together. Yeah? Okay, the lady in front, the gentleman in maroon, and then the gentleman in the blue mask. We take three, then come back to Mr. Riba. There's supposed to be 4 mics on the floor. Why are you taking the speaker's mic?
Oh, yeah.
Please introduce yourself, madam, before you ask your question. Thank you.
Good evening. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, laureates, Anthony Godalo, chairman of the Queen's College Old Girls Board of Trustees, the inaugural Board of Trustees. Like our very bold, what's the word, lady on the moderator on the panel is saying, I don't think we're really addressing the issues in Nigeria are a lot more than politics now. Nigeria is a destroyed country. I'm a parent. I couldn't put any of my children in either kings or queens. My son did the test, passed, was called for interview. We never got the letter. I queued in the rain for days. That was many years ago. That son is 44 now. But you know, from that time, only for his coach, who was a teacher here, to find some young man appearing as him at the interview. So the rot is now endemic. It is not just politics. Politics is important. Getting the right leaders is important. But even in the parties, you won't get there. Because everybody should come up and become a politician. There are young people. I know a young man who tried to go into even local government in his state, in Ogun State. He was told to, in fact, 2 of them, he was told to wait his turn. He ended up in England. He's now in the House. So how do you expect them to stay? Going back to HE or P2B, how do you expect them to stay? To stay to do what? Spades.
Do you think the situation is salvageable or not?
I don't think so. Okay. Not the way things are. I should say that in motion. In BOT, in QCOGA, we're trying to do the same thing King's College Old Boys are doing to change the situation.
Thank you, ma'am. Let's take a few more comments because there are a few people who want to talk. Yes, the gentleman in the blue mask, please. Right here. We'll just be taking notes, please. We'll come back to you. Let's take a few and then come back. Yes, sir.
Good evening, everyone. Floret. My name is Etigwewa. I think we've gotten to the point where we need to start having some honest conversations. The country is not working. And it's only a matter of time we'll become a failed state. In fact, all the indices of a failed state are present in Nigeria. So let's talk about this issue. We're talking about the selection process. Because this issue about leadership, it boils down, this issue about unity, it boils down to the issue of leadership. We fought a terrible war. Go on, introduce NYSC. I have a friend who is a governor today. He served in Enugu, married a lady from Enugu. 4 of his brothers married Igbo women because of NYSC. What are our leaders doing today? Why can't we have a policy that encourages intertribal marriages through tax deductions, for instance?
That's a solution.
Now, the point I'm making is this, and it's unfortunate that the speaker had to leave. Thank him for the amount of time he spent here. But for goodness sake, we're talking about something that is so germane to the existence of your country. I wish he were still here. Why would they in the National Assembly vote down electronic voting? What do we have as political parties in Nigeria? My definition of political parties are power capturing, power retention, ad hoc cooperatives. So let me make two suggestions.
Okay, quickly, please. There are
Yes,
people
very, very
waiting,
quickly.
so- Okay.
Two suggestions. One suggestion is this. Pastor Itwa, ban everybody in your church from taking communion if they don't carry the card of a political party. Let all the old boys associations insist, all the lawyers, all the doctors, let us invade the political space. If we do that, then the selection process, then we'll cut off all this godfatherism, where because somebody is loyal to you, you put him forward. The last thing I'm going to say is this. You cannot have a situation in the country where a particular zone of the country has illiteracy rates of close to 70 or 80%.
93.
Yes, and you'll expect unity. Because what would happen is that the leaders from that zone will begin to think that if there's a fair contest, people from their zone would not be able to have anything. And so that is why we have a federal character system today, which is the greatest cause of disunity in the country. Until we bring everybody to a point where we are all at par. And therefore, it doesn't matter whether it is me or it is my brother from that state, we are all at par. If we don't deal with the issue of education in a zone for race like the North, we can do everything we want, we will not have unity. I have many other things to say, but I understand that we have limited time.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Let's go to the back of the hall. There's a gentleman in a black mask, and then we'll come back to the panel and we'll take another set. If I stay to the front, they will accuse me of favoring important people. All those people before. So let me just. Okay, so your name, please, and please, I'm going to give you 2 minutes. I think the mic is problematic. The mics are.
Hello. All right. Sorry. Good evening, everyone. My name is Godwilifegu. So I wanted to first of all try and answer the question you raised about how we can select this leadership.
You are not a panelist. So.
No. I'm not answering. I'm trying to throw out a suggestion, possibly. So, right. I think a lot of people that aspire to positions these days aspire because of what they think they can gain from the system, because of accountability, right, and the lack of consequences currently in the system. So when people continue to vie for these positions, right, they know they're going there for self-enrichment or anything, and by the time they are out, there are no consequences of their actions, both at political level, civil service level, at various levels of governance. I see people would try to do things that there are no consequences. So I believe if we have structures and systems in place, this is no longer about one good leader, because the system would eat you and spit you out as a good person, right? If you have systems in place that ensures that there are consequences for every action you take, I believe people that are more capable will be the ones to vie for this position. And I'm also going to I want to ask a question on what Peter Obi, Governor, His Excellency Peter Obi had said earlier on. He had compared us to Indonesia and India and spoken about how we are more of a consumption state instead of a production state. And I find that, yeah, that is true. But then when you have a country whose agencies are stifling production and innovation, especially amongst the young people, a recent case is this CBN ban or suspension or threats to Abuki FX. There's been suspensions of trading platforms like cryptocurrencies. And then you see agencies like the EFCC gaining forceful entry into people's businesses and issuing threats. You're stifling production in a country that needs this production. Okay. And I wish the speaker was here, because I wanted to ask him, what is other arms of governance doing the legislative
Thank you, sir.
and judiciary?
Thank you very much. Let's come back to the panel. I hope you took notes on some of the comments and the questions. We start with Mr. Ribadu.
Yes. Well, I think basically we are having a conversation that we are talking about. Is good to hear. But that will not take it away from the fact that fundamentally we have democracy today in our country. And there are a few options. Whether we like it or not, people are elected. When a leader is elected, he is given mandate to run the country the way he likes. It's like the people agreed that you have everything that it takes and they are comfortable. They say, go and run this place the way. That is what is happening. So we cannot run away from the fact that we still have to come back to square one. Through elections, we have to get people who can do a better job. Whatever you are talking about, it's not possible for you to do thorough critical investment, for example, in education and in law enforcement, unless you have a leadership that understands that and wants to do it.
But what about the lady in front who said she's actually lost hope in this country? So you're talking about still working within existing frameworks to change things, and there's a lady.
I think we have to pay more attention.
I'm saying there's a lady in front who says she's actually lost any hope that this country can be salvaged.
Yeah, there is nothing. You see, countries that have gone through that. For example, take Ghana. I'm sure you know what happened in Ghana in the 90s, so 80s and 90s and so on. It was worse than what it is today in our country. When Ghanaians moved out, almost close to 40% of their population. But somehow, for whatever reason, some of them stood there and stood the ground and worked extra. And through democratic process, they were able to get quality leaders who have changed things. And Ghana is beginning to look a different country. And I think okay, what options do we have? What alternatives do we have in this country today?
Okay.
Are we going to take guns and start killing each other?
But isn't that already
Are we going
happening?
to say that, for example, we do what Rwanda did? Are we going to do what Sierra Leone did or Liberia did? Are we going to go there? We have few options. Gentlemen, let's get up. Let's get into this political terrain.
Thank you, Mr. Ribadu. Thank you.
We will save this country. Whatever is happening today is not going to be forever. No, don't ever believe that. Nigerians that are going out, I'm proud of them because one day we are going to beat our chest and say, yes, already today we have 5, 6 parliamentarians in the UK who are Nigerians. We have an attorney general in Canada. We have assistant secretary of state in America. I am proud of them. There is nothing wrong for Nigerians to go out. But some of us who are here, we have to work and improve this country.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody, for that your contribution. Let me help you by stressing my legs as I do. Well, you see, everybody has answered it. Let me start with the madam. Says it's a very simple thing. I lived in England myself. I came back from the UK to be governor of Anambra State. And it wasn't an easy step. I contested the election. I lived in my village for 3 years with my own resources. Cost me everything, nearly made me, for the first time, I would have lost marriage. I never voted. I just saw that schools were closed in Anambra State for 2 years. I said, whatever was slow, among other things, there were other issues. I went there, spent 3 years. Shuma knows what I'm talking. Won the election, and they said they declared somebody else. I went to court. After 1 year, even my lawyer said we should stop. After 1 year, I said, listen, if this thing takes us 10 years, I'm going to be there. 2 years, 3 years. In the 3rd year, I won the case. When I started, within 6 months, I was impeached. The Biden knew what I was talking. 3 of us were impeached in 1 month. 2 of us left the country. He knows what I'm talking. I said, I won't leave the country. I'll challenge this. People who ask me, why were you impeached? I said, don't worry. I was impeached for a simple thing. 3 items. Nothing. 3 items were in my impeachment notice. 1, office of the governor, they wanted to repay it because it was burnt during my predecessor. The budget was approved for 298 million naira. Contract given to somebody, and I said, we don't have money. I repaid it with 43 million naira. We had where the governor will leave 486 million to repay it. And I repaid everything with 81 million because they were trying to buy bed from Singapore, from Dubai, from this. I said, listen, when somebody can make a bed, the governor will sleep. Is it not bed? Bed is bed. Do bed here, let me carry it and go. And we quarrel with people. I can tell you that even to today, if you go to Anambra State, no elite will vote for me. The masses will. No elite, I'm telling you. You not see big men from Anambra State, they like it to be. No. None of them came to the government house. Nobody will tell you that they drank a bottle of wine while I was governor for 8 years. What for? We had no office. I was just telling some people here when I came. I said I had to lease out our lodge in Abuja. My predecessor paid for 1 million. We don't need lodge in Abuja. I shut down the office of First Lady. I even got called and said, why would you have this? I said, listen, this woman is my wife. Nobody voted for her. It's me they voted for. Let me fix this place. She's my wife and I love her. Let her stay at home and give me food when I come. Not to be running around all over the place, creating additional confusion in a confused place. We can change it. If we are determined, I have run a state and there's enough resources to run a state. If there's too much waste here and we can stop it. And the people should stop celebrating criminality. This is the only country where I get gotten into office. People know I don't have a house. I don't have anything. I build a house, build everything, invite people who are swarming. Pastor will come and be preaching. May God bless me to get more money from where I got it. They don't know. People are busy drinking wine and praying for me when they will call police because they never stole their money. We can change it. We're not going to change it by running away. I'm not going to go away. Let's die here and change it here. It can be done.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm going to ask just one little follow-up question, then take 2 more questions, and then we wrap.
Please.
Nothing I didn't answer your listen.
Please.
When we talk about productivity, it's very easy. All we need to do is simple.
Who is that? Yes, sir. Let's just finish with Mr. Obi. Ambassador, just give us a minute. Let him wrap, and I'll come to you.
Okay.
Just
please,
give me a minute, please. Yes,
when you talk about productivity, it's very simple. We will create when we create a level playing field, I know what is happening to the youth and everything. The reason why you have seen the system stifling innovation is the same thing. Because we hire the wrong people in office. When we hire the right people, innovation will come. But you cannot go and bring people from my village and put them to be playing against First Division or Premier League. No. What we have now is that you had untrained drivers for Formula 1 competition.
Thank you,
sir. Just all over the place.
Thank you, sir.
Can I talk?
I will do a little follow-up after Ambassador. He's spoken. Hello,
Yes.
sir. Yes, please, Ambassador.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Now, as a follow-up to what that First Lady said about Nigerians leaving the country, one of the greatest threats facing this country today is talent flight. Talent flight. People leaving this country. People well trained in this country, leaving this country. Take, for example, the current strike by resident doctors. You have a situation. You have a situation. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
We can hear you, sir.
We have a situation where the Minister of Health is a medical doctor. The Minister of State Health is a medical doctor. And my good friend, the Minister of Labor, my good friend, Chris Ngige, a medical doctor who is sitting on top of this problem. The chairman of the House Committee on Health is a medical doctor. The chairman of the Senate Committee on Health is a medical doctor, and they cannot find a solution to this problem. This is very, very serious. It is very, very serious. Something is wrong somewhere. We must take adequate measures to make sure that we prevent talent flight. Of course, Nigerians, when they go out, like somebody has mentioned, they do very, very, very well. Wherever they go. So we must take adequate measures to make sure that we stop this talent flight. It's a very serious problem in this country today.
Okay.
The leadership,
Thank you very much.
The leadership should address itself to that.
Thank you.
Thank
So
you.
I've just been told we have about 10 minutes. So I'm going to take just 3 more questions, a minute each, so that the panel will have time to wrap up. Let me go to this end. There's a lady at the back with, I think you have braids, so we'll do you. Then the other one with braids as well, just so that we have female voices. And then the gentleman in the blue striped jacket in front. So 1, 2, 3, here.
Good evening.
Evening.
My name is Comrade Francis Morgan, KCOB. So looking at all that has been said, the moderator has been emphasizing on structure. And if you listen to what everybody has been saying, what we have been pointing out is the problems, actually. Nobody has actually offered a solution, aside the former governor of Anambra State, Mr. Peter Obi. Now, he said something about productivity. In a country like Nigeria, where there is consumption and share of resources, in a country that doesn't have value for the currency Naira, where Naira is suffering from inflation day in and day out, in a country that refuses, in a country that refuses to adapt to change. Now we understand that election is coming 2023, and there's a system that wants to bring in electronic voting. But here is a country that is refusing something like that. In a country where there is an evolution, where there's a revolution of digital, in a country where there's a revolution of digital money, and the country is refusing to adapt to its system, instead they block it on every means. In a country where youths and children try to strive. Hold on, please. Hold on.
You have a minute and you've already exhausted it. I'm being really nice by letting you carry on. So please ask your question.
Okay, my question is this. Please, can the people up there, can they be more specific when it comes to structure? We're tired of hearing problems. We're tired of hearing Indonesia. We're tired of hearing China. Nigeria is not China. We have our problems. We must first of all identify the problems, then think of how to provide solutions. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The lady in braids over there. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Good evening. My name is Asanowisi, and I have a very quick question. We've been talking about peace and unity. Yes, nobody wins when there's war. When there's a family feud, nobody wins. People die, lives are lost. We've experienced that before. But one thing I want to understand is, I'm not too well traveled, but I like to travel. I schooled in Port Harcourt. I'm in Lagos right now. I've been to Abuja, I've been to Kaduna, I've been to Kano, I've been to so many places. And one thing I've noticed is that there's a huge marginalization happening in Nigeria. So I want to understand why the people in power don't understand when these other people are crying out. For instance, I went to Abuja, I did not experience blackout. The blackout I experienced was maybe the highest was 24 hours. I schooled in Port Harcourt. My entire first year of university, I never knew my light bulbs were working. We have federal roads. Yeah, I'm trying to speed it up, sorry. We have federal roads all the way through the east that links the west to the east, and they are bad. But once you cross from that Lokoja down all the way to Kaduna, the federal roads are fine. So how do you understand a problem that you don't face, and yet we all preach one Nigeria?
Thank you. We'll take a final question here. Was it the gentleman with the blue jacket who raised his hand? Yes, sir. Please let them bring the mic to him. Can you move with alacrity with that mic, I beg? Huh? Thank you. Okay.
Thank you. My name is Leonard Onyebu. I am of CKC, just like my governor there, CKC Old Boys Association. Now I want to hinge my talk on the issue that was the opening prayer we had here, which was on the second stanza of our anthem. That opening prayer is saying that one thing leads to another one. That's where there is equity and where there is fairness, where there is justice, then it leads to another one. There can't be equity or fairness when you say somebody who is a worker, for example, in an organization, hoping to become head of that organization one day. Suddenly, you bring someone who may just be a school leader without any knowledge, without any, and say, this is your guy now. You're teaching him what you are doing. And you expect such organization to stand firm that you are not doing this right thing. This one. Now, okay. Now, please, we know we have a situation in our country now. We have the iPod people saying, we have the other people. Now, can we now say, the has sinned and come short of the glory of God? Can we develop a habit now where we can forgive everybody? This posters them. Come to a table, to a round table. Let's start looking for what is our problem. Who's our problem coming from? Because we can't talk of moving forward. When you have to, when you see that some people are agreed. If they agree that you get together as a father, let's discuss.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Unfortunately, we are running out of time, so I'm coming back to the panel to wrap up. And in wrapping up, there are a few things I want to add, and then let you guys just finish it up. So the first question was around specifics on what to do. The young lady talked about marginalization, and I'm sure that data can be disputed, but the fact is, perceptions of marginalization are as valid as marginalization itself. So it doesn't really matter whether she's factually correct or not. The fact that she feels that way means that it has an impact on her ability to feel whether she belongs in a Nigeria or not. On the issue that the last gentleman raised, bringing people to the table to talk, I want to share a small experience I had in front of Nnamdi Kanu's house when I went to interview him shortly after he was released from jail the first time. I met a young boy who was the Biafra Young Scientists head of their Young Scientists group. And his problem, surprisingly, and why he felt he needed Biafra and he couldn't stay within Nigeria, is that he's from Abia and he couldn't get into school in Imo. Because they told him that he was from Abia, even though he was really bright, had passed all the exams, he was told his quota for most states, or Abia state was fulfilled. And I say this not to dismiss some of the issues around the way people see this as a regional thing, to suggest that even within our regions and locality, we continue to have these issues. So could we start with Ambassador Hirsi, come to you, and then end, I think, with His Excellency, if that's okay.
Thank you. Can I talk?
Yes, sir.
Now, let me put it succinctly, since we have come to the end of this program, that anything short of a free, fair, and credible election in 2023, I don't want to be the devil's advocate. Believe me, then we'll be going back again. So please make sure that we have this electronic voting and electronic transmission of results, so that the right people, the people that will be elected by the people. Because, you know,
thank you.
Please, we must have a free, fair, and credible election in 2023 for this country to remain united. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
And to just add to what he said, we also need to be fair and just. Let's all be all-inclusive in our country. Let no part of our country be they are not being treated fairly. Let us show by our conscious actions that we are all in this together and we are equal and we are the same. Anybody can be a president from any part of Nigeria. We must work extra to help develop unity in our country by being fair and just. We, the electorate, we, the politicians, we must take this conscious decision and then action to help so that this country can move forward. There are a lot of people who are disgruntled. There are a lot of people who are aggrieved. Let's listen to them. Let's respect people.
Can I ask you?
Why can't we do that?
Mr. Ibadu, are you, if the government today, are you suggesting to them they should sit on the table with Nnamdi Kanu, Sunday Igboho? I want you to be quite specific. Is that what you're asking for?
I disagree with people who take arms against Nigeria because it's something that I know is retrogressive. It will take us back. Anybody who says that our solution is through violence is getting it wrong. I
so
totally
not those
disagree.
Ones.
I don't think that is the way to go forward. But there are a lot of decent, good, majority of us are okay. We are fair with one another. Let's come together and say, well, this is the time we will do this. Yesterday we did this. Tomorrow we are going to do that. And if you get a good leader, I'm telling you, somebody was saying that there was no specific. What specific do you want us to say? When the whole thing is determined by the politicians. It's their policies, it's their programs. You vote people on the basis of what they promised they will do for you. They will improve the economy. They will cut the value of the naira. They will improve the law enforcement. They will do this. Nobody, not here, anybody can say anything that will make a difference. When people are voted, they are given mandate to run the country. And they are the most important people. Just give a simple example within your own community here. Kashim Imam is my good friend. I'm telling you, he is giving you 100% in the lead school. He sleeps talking about King's College. He wakes up talking about King's College. Yesterday, he called me, he said, I must come here. This is what leadership is all about. He cares about you. He is doing well for you. Let's get people who care for Nigeria as well, who can do what is right. I'm telling you, there is no alternative to that. Any other way, we are wasting our time. What Bagudu Hirsi, the ambassador, said now, I agree with you. It starts with the elections, but it also starts with the politicians. Let them sit down. They know those who are crying. They know what is happening. Let us be less selfish. all inclusive. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
You know, I said we're not going to be, I'm not going to be political, but the young man that asked the question, or my brother that asked the question from the back about, and talked about electronic voting. Let me tell you, you know why electronic voting go the way we want? You know why? Very simple. Because those who voted negatively and those who didn't vote, there's no consequence. If a senator knows that if he votes wrongly, he will not go back to his constituency, he will vote rightly. I always say, talk things from example. I paid all the outstanding gratuity because an old woman, 80 years, called Mrs. Cindy Bay. Somebody said it outside here that I go to church every morning when I was governor. I was in the church praying. The woman came and threw away all my book and asked me to leave the church. Said, what are you doing here? People were trying to hold him because I cannot go into a place like I come into here with security people. No. Everybody was trying to hold. He said, I should leave the church immediately. Like God will never hear my prayers. That she's been old pension since, and I'm here praying for what? I should leave the place. I followed that woman to her house. When I listened to her, I said, Ma, I will fulfill this promise. I'm going to clear all the pension and gratuity. Please confront our leaders. Stop all this sing praising. Let us tell them they are wrong. They are human beings. The worst that can happen is that you're not in office. They don't give you any benefit. You don't need the benefit. Tell them that things are wrong. This is the only country you were voted into office. I've been a governor. Everybody sees, since you came, everything is right. Even when you are seeing things wrong in your face. When we stop it, they will know. Your age, my age can draw up good people to lead the country. As for what we are talking about, sitting down with people in a round table or this or that, let me tell you, and again, for what you said, you can't stop talking about China, Indonesia, all these countries. You must compare yourself with something. It is important in your life. I spent 2 weeks in China, 2 weeks in Bangladesh, Philippines, everywhere. Don't understand what is wrong with us. The reason why if you go to Philippines, Bangladesh, go to South America, they all had crisis of agitation. The more you pull people out of poverty, you reduce the agitation. The more you throw people into poverty, agitation increases. Simple. We're all, I've said it before, criminal, terrorists, and everything, depending on where we're coming from. And let nobody say discrimination is either in the south or in the north. I have friends in the north. I've said in the north, the situation is even worse there than it is in the south. What we are saying is, let all these people come. Let's bring good people from the north. We have been praising Ribadu. Why is he not in office? That's the question. So let the people in the north bring the good people in the north. Bring the good people in the south and combine them. And let's face this country is a country that can be redeemed easily.
Thank you very much. My panel again, Ambassador Hirse, Mr. Obi, and Malanu Ribadu. Thank you so much for joining us and for being part of this conversation. Appreciate it. Our MC. Okay. Are you expecting me to wrap it up? Oh, he's here. He's here. No, go on, please. You have to.
Yeah. We are wrapping it up. Don't go. Well, I and the Deputy President will do the rest of the program and we'll try to bring it to a speedy conclusion. May I please at this stage invite His Excellency, Mr. Peter Obi, former Governor of Anambra State. Madam Noor Ribadu, MNI. His Excellency, my friend and brother,
I vote for me.